Memo to Kathy Wood, close your fund. Close it. Listen to what the late Jack Bogle would say. Close it. Concentrate on performance, not on trying to deploy capital. It's okay. It's no sin. It's what the great ones do. Peter Lynch did it. I mean, you just close it.
Hello， 大家好，欢迎来到北美韭菜日记，我是九九。昨天对于持有 ARK 的朋友们来说，应该是惊心动魄的一天。最低的时候，每只基金跌幅都超过了 10%，ARKK 好像最低跌了 13%。当日有465 million 的资金流出，超过50亿的资金进行了换手。不过好在最终收盘的时候只跌去了大概 3%， 对于坚定持有的朋友们来说，也算是有惊无险的一天。刚才播放的是今早 CNBC 新闻里的一个片段，视频里 Cramer 衷心的对 Cathy Wood 提出了意见，就是关掉基金。不过注意，这里说的关掉并不是让 Cathy Wood 关了公司去退休了，而是说让基金不再接受新的资金流入，也就是不让买家们继续购买了。这样的话呢，就可以把资金的总规模控制在一定的范围之内，而不至于增长得太快，难以控制。在收看完整视频之前呢，再快速的介绍一下读书会，主要就是针对那些平时不愿意读书或者是没有时间读书的朋友们。在读书会里会以音频的形式，每周推送2本精品好书，涵盖的内容多是和投资、经济类相关的。微信 App 和网页版的目前也都已经上线了，感兴趣的朋友们可以在视频描述栏里找到加入链接。OK， 一起来看一下完整采访。
Cathy Wood's ARK, I saw on Twitter this morning, you asked what stock is she going to save today?
Well, I like to take it's kind of, I mean, it's a little bit of a poll. It's a little bit of a parlor game. She's buying, she's the best there is, got to say that. She's buying every stock that should be crushed by the interest rate move. I mean, these are classic long dated assets that she's buying, and that's what you're supposed to be selling. But the idea of ganging up on Cathy Wood, this is not, David, when you gang up on Cathy Wood, you're not ganging up on Melvin Capital. I just want you to know that.
Well, important point here, and you're right. There's no leverage.
No leverage.
ETF's not levered.
Right.
So now, she did have a lot of outflows yesterday, though, Jim.
Well, what can I say, David?
I mean, by the way, a number that's so big, it's probably larger than her entire fund was only a handful of years ago.
But, David, she stopped Tesla right in its tracks on the decline.
Yeah.
So, I mean, today it's Cathy Wood, it's David Portnoy, it's Vlad. It's pretty much everybody who matters.
It's kind of the new world, isn't it?
Tiger Woods. Now, when I look at this, I mean, look, she sells the spunk every day. Everyone who wants to understand what Cathy Wood does, she puts out, it's 6:51 yesterday, when she puts out what she did. And there was a time, David, you know this, when there were people who would say, all right, she's got big outflows. Let's go against Unity Software. Let's break Cathy Wood. But you can't because she's not levered.
Right.
So instead, you just see outflows, and you say, okay, which one is she going to stop? Is she going to stop Square today? Square did not have a great conference call, and they're all Bitcoin. So maybe she stops the decline in Square. This has become the ultimate parlor game, Carl. We look at these things, instead of investing, instead of trying to figure out what the right thing to do is.
这里我必须要插播一下，我承认对于很多热门的小盘股，会有一部分朋友们是利用 Cathy Wood 的效应在赚钱。但是像特斯拉、Square 这种体量的公司，我不认为仅仅是通过 ARK 的购买力就能把他们的股价给推起来的，主要还是要靠背后的其他机构和散户，尤其是散户们。和几年前相比，散户的力量已经不容小觑了。Cathy Wood 以及 ARK 团队在整件事情当中扮演的最重要的角色是什么呢？我觉得是他们通过网络、通过社交媒体的力量，源源不断的向散户投资者们输出信息、输出价值。调查报告、估值模型这些都是免费分享出来的。实际上也是变相的提升了散户投资者的整体素养。之前大部分散户投资者的风格是什么样的呢？追涨杀跌，见风使舵。因为没有人对一家公司的基本面能够做到全面深刻的了解，所以只能看看 K 线，跟在机构们的屁股后面喝口汤。这只股票跌破均线了，我要止损离场。国债收益率提高了，我要赶紧从成长股转型到经济复苏股了。我不知道你们，反正这种方法对于我来说会太累。一是我没有时间来盯盘，二是我得到信息的速度也肯定没有机构们快。不过我知道的是，对于特斯拉这种几十年难遇的公司，每一次下跌都是买入的好机会。没错，短期内是会有板块轮动，哪怕是利率上调，成长股杀一波估值，但是这种事情我控制不了，更提前埋伏不到。我知道的就是，如果把目光放长远的话，这只股票一定会涨。我能做的也就是安安静静的继续持有5到10年。如果散户们都会基本面调查了，都知道对自己看好的股票坚定的长期持有了，那我觉得华尔街可能真的就割不到韭菜了。就拿昨天特斯拉的深 V 来说，10年国债收益率陡增，所有成长股都被杀了一波估值，资金转头流向了传统股，这肯定是机构们带头的。就像 Cramer 说的，对于机构来说，这的确是正确的做法， 但是对于大部分的散户来说，这个节奏绝对是跟不上的。很多人可能根本就不知道市场上发生了什么，但是对于特斯拉的长期投资者，就是看到股票打折了，然后闭着眼睛买。能抄到底部的话 perfect， 抄不到的话也无所谓，因为5到10年之后回头看的话，这5%、10%的差距根本就不算事儿。再来说昨天后半段，大家都知道了，鲍威尔讲话说短期内不会提高利率，资金又回流进了成长股，1个小时内上下波动了20%。华尔街习惯了用这样的伎俩让散户们跟在自己的屁股后面跑，突然不管用了，而且是最近1年有越来越多的散户们都不上当了，自己最后可能反倒成了低抛高吸的韭菜了，你说他们气不气 ？OK， 再来看采访。
To you by J&J, we are looking and saying, you know what? Holy cow, she is making a statement right now with Aero Environment selling it again. How did this happen? How did this person become what we do for a living? Honestly, Carl, I don't know.
It is remarkable. She's been coming on for years, but her influence has grown, as you said, more recently. Jim, I know you were watching this report out of CFRA talking about ripple effects potentially out of ARK, but they say we think they can manage their cash flow and use the liquidity of some of its large cap positions to mitigate any impact from those flows.
Memo to Kathy Wood, close your fund. Close it. Listen to what the late Jack Bogle would say. Close it. Concentrate on performance, not on trying to deploy capital. It's okay. It's no sin. It's what the great ones do. Peter Lynch did it. I mean, you just close it. You don't just sit here and just keep taking in money and taking a look at what stock's down a lot and saying, you know what, I'm doing a cold shot. That's it, Tesla 620. I'm done. Tesla goes higher. That's the kind of hubris. No, David, help me here.
What do you want me to tell you?
感觉 Jim Cramer 这里已经快要丧失理智了，因为咱们都知道 Cathy Wood 的这种投资方式就是专注在未来5到10年之后的回报。大部分华尔街对冲基金并不是这样做的。凯蒂·伍德刚出道的时候，有很多质疑的声音，就是说这个女人是不是在故弄玄虚啊？毕竟5到10年之后的事儿，现在也没人能证实。这么长的投资周期，你真以为你自己是巴菲特呀？现在这些朋友们应该都闭嘴了。不过对于 ARK 以后规模越来越大，难以发挥出实力这点担忧也不无道理，因为盘子太大，稍微买入或者卖出股票就有可能影响到股价的表现。这个问题也一直是基金经理们挥之不去的噩梦，也包括巴菲特的伯克希尔哈撒韦。他的做法就是更多的去买那些大市值的公司，牺牲掉伯克希尔的成长性来换取稳定性。所以总的来说，资金盘子太大这个问题，我觉得的确会对业绩有影响，但是也不算是一个需要咱们短期内过于担心的致命影响。Jim Cramer 提出的不再接受新的资金流入的做法，我承认是最容易解决问题的方法，但是不是最有效的还有待商榷。当年互联网泡沫时期火爆程度和现在的ARK基金不相上下的 Janus 20 Fund， 他在当时倒是提前关闭了基金，但是依旧没能阻止最后基金破产的命运。OK， 继续来看采访。
That's it, Tesla 620. I'm done. Tesla goes higher. That's the kind of hubris. No, David, help me here.
What do you want me to tell you?
I don't know.
I mean, listen, I think back to 25 years ago when we knew nothing about what any fund manager was. Forget 25 years ago. We knew nothing about anything back then, and it was impossible to get a hold of information other than to pick up your actual phone. I think they had push buttons. It wasn't rotary, but you know, you'd pick up your phone and try and find things out. Now we actually get sent at the end of the day or in the morning every single trade that she made. It's amazing. Some of the transparency is helpful. It's interesting. And, you know, this is, as you say, something we go through. Remember, it's not just one fund. It's ARKF, it's ARKG, it's ARKK that she's buying and or selling for. I keep seeing every morning now, the second morning in a row, Discovery is is right at the top there.
But she was selling Square,
which, of course,
David.
Has been an incredible momentum stock suddenly over the last 8 weeks.
But can we look at these stocks and just say that if you want to look at a list of stocks that you don't buy when the 10-year the rates are rising, you say, I don't want to own long-dated assets. I want to own John Deere. I don't even want lumber. And these are the kinds of stocks that should go down. But the people who are following her don't understand. Many do not understand the intricacies between long-dated assets and the rise in interest rates. So this could be one of the situations where the whole portfolio could fall because of interest rates.
解释一下股票估值和利率之间的关系。在当今使用最普遍的现金流折现法估值模型当中，利率是在分母位置的，所以利率越高，股票的估值就越低；利率越低，估值也就会越高。所以我们才会看到投资者们对美联储的每次发言都逐字逐句的去分析， 就是想看看言语之间能不能找到一点蛛丝马迹，来预测一下未来利率的变化情况。而且利率对估值的影响，对成长股是要比价值股的影响更大的。所以哪天如果是美联储突然宣布加息了，ARK基金受到的冲击肯定会比其他基金更大。不过不要忘了，Cathy Wood 经济学出身的，对宏观经济、财政政策上的影响应该比谁都清楚。在每一期的 In the Know with Cathy Wood 里，他都会先花个10几分钟来和投资者们汇报这些。所以对于利率陡增的影响，他自己肯定是早就考虑到的了。来看看他是怎么回答的。
Are you worried that as rates go up, those stocks could come down?
Well, I do believe if rates were to take a sharp turn up, that we would see a valuation reset, and our portfolios would be prime candidates for that valuation reset, of course. Now, one of the things that I've found interesting over the last really 20 years is that the S&P's PE ratio tends to peak out in the 20 to 25 times range of the forward earnings. And I think the reason for that is most portfolio managers and maybe quantitative researchers are looking at normalized nominal GDP growth in the 4 to 5% range, which is where long-term interest rates should be normalized. We actually think normalized GDP growth is probably closer to 3. Now, if you think, and that's where long-term interest rates should stabilize. If you think of 20 to 25 times, that's 1 over 4 to 5% growth. So it's the inverse of the growth rate, the nominal GDP growth. And that's where it seemed to be peaking out. We think there's actually longer term. I agree with you, Scott. There will be a valuation reset. There will be fear, I'm sure, and we will use it to our benefit, concentrating our portfolio to our highest conviction names. But I think longer term, especially given the powerful growth trajectories that the 5 innovation platforms around which we revolve all of our research, that those trajectories are so powerful that these multiples, these companies are going to grow into their multiples a lot faster than most investors are now expecting. And so that's a source of confidence for us.
2个重点我这里给大家总结一下。第一点 ，Cathy Wood 认为投资者在计算股价的时候应该用3%的利率，而不是4%到5%。这样的话，整个美股的市盈率应该是在33，而不是20到25之间。这是他通过自己对宏观经济的了解所做出的判断。第二个重点，哪怕美联储突然宣布加息了，短期内的确是会让股价大跌，投资者恐慌性抛售。这个时候 ARK 就会不惜一切代价来抄底他们的重仓股。因为他们相信这些公司在未来高速成长所能带来的正面影响会远远超过加息所带来的负面影响。
Do you take into account or do you have any type of forecast in terms of rates and adjust the portfolio to that forecast, or do you keep cash there? And ETFs are kind of interesting in terms of the level of cash you're allowed to keep or not keep. So how do you do it? So rates right now, they're moving up. Do you say, okay, we may be in a little trouble here with this valuation reset. They're going to jump up another whatever up to, maybe 2%. Do you get in front of it, or do you just take it as it comes?
No, we use it actually. And so what we've been doing for the last 6 months is expanding the number of names in our portfolio. And we do that as a bull market extends, because in some ways it's a tax efficient strategy. What we will do during a correction, especially a severe correction like the coronavirus crisis presented, we will sell names in which are creating losses now because, again, we've bought them, we've diversified and bought them more recently. Sell those names creating losses to buy our highest conviction names. Some of the names we've been moving into, you'll notice, are names like some of the bigger biotech names, Regeneron, Novartis, Takeda. And what we will do and we think of them as cash-like, but there's also a reason, an investment reason we are moving into them. Ironically, we think they're deep value names because These companies, the ones we are choosing, they are able to use the convergence of technologies that is taking place today in the genomic revolution. So DNA sequencing, artificial intelligence, once again, and gene therapies, new technologies, new ways of doing things. They are investing aggressively now. They have to, because they've lost a lot of their pipelines or will soon do so. And we think the returns on investment in the biotech space, and I'm talking big biotechs, if they're doing this correctly, could move from the high single digits today back into the golden age of healthcare. So in the 80s, we saw 20 to 30%. So we're using them as cash-like instruments in some way, because we will move back into our pure play names if we get into a severe correction. But we also see the investment merit in these names. They're just not pure play names. So we use corrections toggling back and forth. And so right now, our flagship portfolio has roughly 52 names in it. At the low point in the coronavirus last year, it was as low as 33, I believe.
我之前其实解释过 ARK 的这个调仓逻辑，很多朋友表示不太能理解，就是在股市连续大涨的时候，减仓一些涨得好的重仓股、成长股，比如特斯拉、Square 什么的，然后换成大市值公司的股票，类似苹果、亚马逊，还有他提到的这些医药股。就像前一阵子股市疯涨，大家都觉得调整马上就要来了，但是清仓拿着现金的话又太浪费机会成本，毕竟没人能够 timing the market。换成这种大市值的公司，从投资角度来看的话，肯定是比现金要强的。等回调真的来了的时候又扛跌，最差的情况下，哪怕是亏损着卖出去调仓了，给基金还能带来税务上的福利。昨天大跌的时候，我清仓了苹果、阿里这些大蓝筹来调仓特斯拉了。很多朋友表示看不懂这个操作，这个就是我和 ARK 学的。因为前阵子真的是恐高症严重发作，很多股票都是疯涨，就减仓了一些涨得多的，换到这种大蓝筹上应对股市的回调。卖掉之后呢，也并不代表我就不看好苹果、不看好阿里了。关键是这种公司一年可能涨个 10%、20% 的，肯定是没有600多的特斯拉对我的吸引力大的。总的来说，投资 ARK 的朋友们，我觉得完全可以把心放在肚子里。你们考虑到的所有问题，女股神都已经考虑到了。你所有不理解的操作，她也肯定都会有自己的解释。短期内和大盘相比 ，ARK 基金依旧会波动巨大，但是这也是任何高回报成长股都有的特性。稳定性和成长性不可能让你全占了。如果你实在受不了这么大的波动的话，也可以像我一样少量布局一些传统股。我目前投资组合里持有的有加拿大鹅、AMC， 还有人造肉 Beyond Meat。如果 Beyond Meat 算是传统股的话，当然如果你不会选股的话，也可以直接考虑去购买股神巴菲特的 BRK， 也会是一个非常不错的选择。OK， 如果觉得今天的视频给你带来一些收获的话，千万不要忘记点赞、订阅九月频道。对开户有需求的，也可以在视频描述栏当中找到各个券商的优惠福利以及开户链接。那本期视频就暂时先带来到这里了，我们下期视频再见，拜了个拜。所以我们才会看到投资者们对美联储的每次发言都在重复，所以我们才会看到投资者们对美联储的每次发言都在